Good morning. Hope you all are doing well and being safe. Make sure you're sanitizing the groceries that you get. Very important. Today's video is about the user interface, how you'll be navigating on the software basically. What you have to do with this video is that you keep pausing it and keep going back to your interface. So if you're watching this on a phone right now, I would suggest that you switch on your system, watch it on a large screen. Let's start. Alright, so the first thing I'll be telling you all about is viewports and camera. We start with default 4 viewport layout. So we are able to see the same model in 3 parallel orthographic views, which are these top, front and right, and one perspective view. In the perspective viewport, you can toggle the view by right clicking on your mouse. Notice how right clicking on the other viewports just makes it pan and doesn't toggle the view. If you hold the control key while clicking and dragging your right mouse button, you toggle the zoom in and out. And if you press the shift button while dragging, you pan the view. Please try this on your viewport now. You can maximize any of the viewport by double clicking its name tag. The name tags are these ones. If you double click on them, it enlarges into the single viewport. And if you want to go back to the 4 viewports, you double click on it again. Also, right-clicking on the name tag will allow you to change display modes for the particular viewport. So if I want to change display mode of just this particular viewport, I could go to this drop-down menu and select one of these display modes. Each of these display modes can be used in very different situations, so I would suggest that you go through all of them. They're very interesting. Uh, I like Arctic a lot in particular. I like it because of how neat your model looks once you have this display mode on. Um, In fact, for all my thesis renders, the final renders, I use this display mode. In addition to one other command which allows you to change colors of just selected objects. I'll just show that command real quick. So it's set object display mode, and you can just select one object that you want to change color or you want to highlight. You press enter and check attributes for selected objects. You have to keep going back to the command bar to see what it's prompting you to do. You select the mode. It could be rendered, it could be ghosted. All of these you have to find out what they do actually. So I'll go for rendered right now and see how just that object got changed. Very useful. I've used this a lot to highlight the things that I want to show. Alright, moving ahead. Whenever you click within one of these viewports, you can see the properties window change. See how it's changing the title and the projection type. Since these viewports are parallel projected, you can see how the projection changes here. And if I'm in perspective, it changes its projection type. This properties tab also shows you the lens length and the camera's location. To better visualize the camera's location, you can press F6 and the camera's position shows up in all the other viewports. I'll just show that. So I press function and F6 and you can see that the camera's location is now visible on the other tabs. It's best visible on this top viewport. You will notice as I pan around, the camera in other viewports keeps changing. You can also change height of the camera manually from here. So if I change the height of the camera here to probably something like 600, notice how the target more or less remains the same and just the height of the camera gets increased to 600. You can play with these numbers until you're happy and then save the view. You can save this view by bringing up this tab. It's called named view. Then you can save the view just as how you would have done in any other software. Save as, give it a name. Okay. Now even if you pan around and then go back to the view, it comes back to the view that you had saved. If you double click on the saved view, it will apply to your current active viewport. So if my right viewport is active and I double click on the saved view, it will apply the perspective view here as well. Then to go back to the right elevation again, I'll right click on the tab, go to set view and pick the default right view again. And you will see the projections change back to parallel and how they were looking from the right side again. Another thing you can control from the properties tab is the projection type. If I go back to my perspective view, you see the projection types are perspective. If I go to this drop down menu, you see these options that I have. If I choose the 2-point perspective, you can see that the parallel lines along width and depth of an object are meeting at separate points. Or if I click on the parallel, we can have more of an axonometric view of your Rhino model. The last thing about cameras is that you can control the amount you see on your viewport by controlling the lens length. For that, you'll have to go back to your perspective view. You can see that the lens length is 50 right now. If you want a wider angle, you can lower the lens length. Notice when I lower the lens length, what changes it does to the viewport here. So it's basically increasing your field of view, and that's evident in this top viewport. I'll change that back to 50 and see how it changes again. This is it about the viewports and cameras. This is everything that you need to know about it. Um, we'll move ahead to the other toolbars that are here now. Let me explain this in a new file. Alright, first things first, on your command bar, type selection filter. This pop-up is a great hack. Um, you guys are lucky that you get to know this damn early. I figured this out much later and it saved a lot of time after that. I like to dock this on the top above the command line. You can dock it underneath as well, but I would advise you to dock it on the top above the command line. What this selection filter does is it filters your selection. So for an example, let me make a box here. I'll extract its curves by extract wireframe, a very useful tool again. Okay, now if I want to select just the curves of this box, I'll deselect the surface and poly surface and all the curves get selected. Now if I just want to select the surface and not the curves, I deselect the curves and I get just the surfaces. And if I just want the poly surface, I deselect the curve and the surface. Selection filter is love. On the bottom of the screen, you have your object snap boxes. These checkboxes control what type of objects will snap to while working in Rhino. The word grid snap below will toggle on or off your grid snap for each viewport. The word default can be right-clicked to access the layers palette. Here you can change objects layer to another, lock them or hide them. Okay, now I'll tell you 3 ways by which you can enter any command. Whoops. So for starting any command, you have 3 options of going about it. First is the drop down menu from the department menu. You can choose a command from this one, or you can choose an icon from the ribbon menu, or you could type the command on the command line. I'll give you a demo for this. So let's take circle as a command for example. Now if I want to make a circle, I could go to the department menu and under curve select circle. You have options of how to make it. I'll go with the center radius. Now if I want to choose an icon for the for making the circle, I'll go to curve tools, select the circle and make it like that. Or I could type the command on the command menu. So on the command line, I'll type circle. It gives me certain prompts that I could use, but right now I'll go with the standard one. So center of circle, radius, and that's it. So these are the three ways by which you can enter any command. Alright, so giddy up soldier, you're ready for your first Rhino assignment. So the first thing that you'll be modeling in Rhino is in fact the first thing that I modeled in Rhino. The guy who taught me Nofan, he gave me this assignment back when I was interning. It's a simple cube and you have a sphere in the center and all those corners join to that one point in the center. Fairly simple. Um, a little add-on to this from my end is this. It's just pyramids that I've added to all the faces of the cube, and again all the points of the end of the pyramid join to that one point in the center. It's a it's an interesting model to make. Um, these are the commands that you'll use. I don't think you'll need any other command other than this. But if you get stuck, you can always ask me. Um, this command is essential here. Extract wireframe. You try to use it towards the end and not the beginning. You'll be fine. Alright, I hope you liked today's video. This is the second last video which is for everyone. After tomorrow's tutorial, I'll need two things from you. First is an image of what you made for homework today, and the second are the details of the ones that want to enroll themselves in this work course.